Hey, it's Rick with SeeHomestead.com. Everybody normally hears me say Rick with SeeMyBeach.com. In Homestead, this is a new community for us. We're really excited. I'm here today with Amy Mitchell. How you doing, Amy?
Outstanding. Yourself?
Really, really well. And over here is Ken Ross, the man. How you doing, Ken?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing great.
Awesome. Ken's new in our life. We just met Ken a couple of days ago. Really excited about that. First of all, let me tell you, we're marketing under See Homestead here because of the fact that we see great things for Homestead as the kind of the glue for the South when it comes to day trips and things like that. So we're really excited about it. You can stay here, you can day trip to the Keys, you can day trip to Miami, and we're excited about taking this new journey here with these guys. So you take it from here, Amy. Tell everybody a little bit about what introduce my man Ken here, okay?
Well, my name is Amy Mitchell, and I'm with the Mitchell Group at EXP here in Homestead, and I have a special guest with us today, who is Ken Ross.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. And Amy, this is my first time getting acquainted with you. I do a lot of work in Homestead, and I've heard a lot of good things about Amy Mitchell, so this is exciting for me. I'm ready for it.
Well, thank you for that. So we have a couple of questions for Ken, and as you know, I'm a sustaining partner here in Homestead with See My Beach and SeeHomestead.com, and I'm excited to have somebody else join our mission to support Homestead, which is my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about what intrigued you about joining the mission.
Okay, well, let me kind of take a step back. I am Ken Ross, right? I'm a business consultant, and one of the things that I definitely want to see happen in Homestead is growth. I'm born and raised in the Midwest, so this whole opportunity, this thing is really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I'm also the chairman for the Chamber of Commerce here in Homestead. It's actually right down Chrome Avenue. You could literally probably walk it. I mean, it's probably a mile or two walk from here, but I'm excited to see the growth that is going to happen here in Homestead, and I've had a really great time the last 7 years since I've been here in Homestead, getting to know people, understanding this community, wanting to see it grow in a very positive way, and to do things that I didn't think I'd ever do before. But yeah, I mean, we talk all about whatever it is you want to talk about, but that's why I'm here today. I'm here to see proactive growth in this community and be able to provide something that, you know, Miami and the Keys don't offer, which is this homesteady type feel. I don't know how to best put it.
Homesteady, I like it.
Yes, homesteady feel.
I understand that because I'm born and raised here in Homestead, several generations deep. But I want to know, with all of that you said, tell me something that you love about Homestead since you've been here.
Okay, well, like I said, born and raised in Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, actually. It's a smaller town. It's actually the biggest town in Nebraska, but it's a smaller town in comparison to some people. And when I moved to Miami, everybody's like, Miami, it's so big. It's like this huge county. But Homestead is kind of the smaller version of Miami. If you think about what people say about Miami proper and Homestead in particular, Homestead is like Coney Island. If you're looking at New York, right, you have the different boroughs. It's like Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. I feel like Homestead has that more personal touch where you can get to know people, you can establish great relationships, you can really invest in your community in a substantial way. Where up in the city, it's Manhattan, right? It's rustle and bustle. There's a lot of things going on, and I've been able to see a lot of that actually. In my time here, and I'm just excited to continue to see that growth because that's the kind of environment I lived in for a very long time. And when I moved here, I didn't quite know all that right away, but I've come to know that.
Okay, well that's great.
That
does help a little bit. I know business-wise, you are in the business development.
I'm a business consultant.
Business consultant.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about in detail what that means for some folks. That might be kind of a vague.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll start by taking another step back. I mentioned I'm the chairman for the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
One of the things the Chamber of Commerce's mission is to really invest in the businesses, whether it's a large business or a small business. Our business is your business. That's what we say at the Chamber of Commerce. As a business consultant, my business is your business. I want to understand your business. I want to know how to help it. I want to know what your problems are. I want to connect you to different people that may be able to help that growth, establish those connections with a lot of other different businesses that can foster growth in the community. Because the hardest thing a business person can do is try to step out of what they're doing and grow with people they don't trust. So I establish that trust with businesses, and I try to make those connections. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the Chamber of Commerce, why I'm the chairman this year, why we want to continue to see growth in Homestead, positive growth in the right ways. So does that make sense? Did I put enough meat on it there for you?
Yeah, you did. As far as, I like that you mentioned about the chamber and how you are here to help connect business owners and help them with their business. And so I'm sure that's relatable to what you do as your own profession aside from the chamber.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do when you're not working with the chamber?
There you go. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm definitely a business consultant, but my specialty is cost reduction.
Ooh.
I want to see businesses save the most money on essential expenses, things that they already spend money on, but they aren't paying attention to. I also want to look into maybe some of their other costs like payroll or healthcare or any of those other types of things that really kind of bog down their bottom line. Because in the end, to operate a business to actually grow, you have to make some very intentional steps to grow in a direction which takes more risk. And if you're going to take more risk, that requires more money. Where are you going to find the money if you don't know where, you know, if you want to take the risk, you got to find the money. Where are you going to find it if you don't know where to find it?
Okay.
I'm going to try to give them some context there and give them some tools and different things that we can do. I actually wrote a book too about that.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your book called?
My book is called Saving the Most Money Today. The Guide for Businesses to Save the Most Money Today. I'm sorry. And you can get it on the Apple Bookstore. It's a very short guide, gives you some practical steps there. I actually follow that up with, I have a YouTube series on my YouTube channel that you can check out.
And what's your YouTube channel called?
It's I Am Ken Ross. So I can just type it into YouTube and you'll find it.
That was great. As a business owner, I can say that that is a very valuable service that every business or small business could use. So I'm intrigued, I can tell you that. So that's good to know.
So what's even funnier about this, Amy? You're Amy Mitchell, right? I've heard a lot of things about Amy Mitchell. The business that I've partnered with is a franchise, and you know the name of the franchise?
What's that?
Schoolie Mitchell. So I don't know if you're related. No, you're actually not. But yeah, Schoolie Mitchell is the name of the franchise.
Okay.
And they've done this for over 20 years. I work with them. There are over 200 consultants like myself, very passionate about helping business owners and nonprofits succeed in growing their businesses.
Knowing where you're coming from and that you also have guidance and a program that you followed on a larger scale makes me feel like you have much more of a reputable business and service to offer.
Yeah, the credibility is definitely there in this space. You know, being associated with a franchise. I don't typically engage with businesses by saying, oh, I'm part of this franchise network, because most people don't know them. But that assertive level of trust, when I can introduce them to 5 or 10 other people just like me that do this for a living, it's very powerful to see, because there is definitely strength in numbers. If you're a small business, you don't have the kind of leverage that maybe a hospital network, or maybe I'm going to pick the biggest company in the world that I love, like Apple has. Apple has a lot of clout because they have a lot of money. They can do a lot of things. Small businesses can't do that. So you need more leverage. You need to find a community of people that you can trust to do that. And so I can provide that for them pretty quickly.
That's awesome. When you talk about your business and you're telling people about what you do and what service you offer, can you think of one thing that you wish more people knew about what you did that would help them realize that the service that you offer is something that they need?
I'll tell you something about what I wrote in the book, to be honest, because I really do feel like this is the revelation for me. Cost reduction, saving money, is an intentional exercise. A lot of folks don't see it as an intentional exercise. They see it as, oh, it's just an opportunity that I see that somebody's going to kind of guide me through, right? Because most people, when they say, oh, I'm saving money, they went to, like, I'll give you another example I use in the book too. Geico, very good with branding. They talk about, 15 minutes you could save 15% or less on your car insurance. So that's the intention they want to take. They say, I'm going to take this intention and do this thing to save some money. I'm hoping to save some money, and they perceive that they're saving money because they went to a place that says, hey, I can save you money.
Right.
That's not how you save money
Right.
on expenses. It's just not. It's not how you save money in anything. It requires a lot more intention than that. So.
Intention is, I think, the key to probably everything.
Absolutely.
Ken, is there anything else you want to tell us or tell me business-wise before we talk about your sponsorship with chomestead.com?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I think for myself, I want to reiterate my passion for servant leadership, my passion for this community. I have always been the person to want to extend of himself, to do the best thing that I can do for anyone. Doesn't matter if you're paying me or not. And I think that's reflected in not only my time here in Homestead, but in my life in general. I come from a humble place. I don't even really, I could say a lot of things about it, but I'm very humbled to be in a position that I can help people. And I want to continue to do that.
That's amazing. Servant leadership is not something that you hear people talk about very often, and so that's definitely a key word for me. I'm also a servant leader. I share that same opinion and value and giving to others and not expecting to get anything in return. Just doing the better good. Right?
Absolutely.
So there is a massive community of people in seemybeach.com, and that community supports a website that began, I think, in 2009, and it's changed its mission just after the BP oil spill in 2010. I know it's you're very interested in our community and supporting our mission, and we think that we can change the perception of Homestead from a rural community into a more progressive location and forward-thinking city that it has become. And I can personally say that Homestead has grown tremendously since Hurricane Andrew, and even more so just in the last 5 to 10 years, to the point where there's literally a separation between Old Homestead, or West Homestead if you will, and East Homestead, which is the newer section of Homestead. What made you become a part of the community as a sponsor, and what do you think that you can do as a chamber member to try to bring these two sides of the community together?
I'm going to answer your question a little bit differently than I thought I was when you first started.
Okay.
Just to say, this is a very good question. In a roundabout way, that's what I'm saying. The reason I think that this is a great avenue is something that kind of really ties back to my story when I started my business. I started my business right before the pandemic. And I signed up, and I was like, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to change the world, and then the pandemic happens. Right?
I can sympathize with that.
And you can sit there and you can say to yourself, well, what am I supposed to do now? Right? Just like a lot of folks did. They said, what am I supposed to do now? We're in the midst of a global pandemic. I can't do the things I wanted to do. I can't do the growth and the development. I can't learn what I need to learn because everybody's in this state of panic. Their business is shutting down. There are people dealing with their loved ones dying. But what I've learned in all of that is that a real thriving community thrives in those moments. They rally around each other. And from what I understand of what happened after the hurricane, that's where a lot of business growth and development happened. That's where a lot of the changes, that was the agent of the change for Homestead, right? That's why Homestead is the way it is now because of the hurricane. And I feel like for me, I had a mini hurricane in the global pandemic, even though it was probably a much bigger thing globally, but in the sense that I had a choice to make. And that choice was, do I continue to do the things I was passionate about doing? Or do I just fold up and say, you know what, the pandemic is a good reason to not do anything? and I chose to fight. I didn't choose to just sit around and do nothing. I wanted to grow, and I figured out a way. I joined the chamber in the middle of the pandemic. I started helping the community and helping business owners navigate this new world that we're in. And it has changed. It's changed a lot for business owners since the pandemic. But I'm going to stay here. I'm going to continue to do that because I made a commitment to myself to want to change, to be the change agent, to want to serve the community and do things. So I don't know more about the question. I said I was going to answer it a little bit differently, but that is the reason why I feel like this is such a great partnership, because I feel like for a lot of people, Homestead is overlooked. They don't see Homestead is a real place. When I first moved here, people were like, "You're moving to Homestead?"
I've heard that.
And
many times.
you told me you're moving to Homestead. Why don't you just call it Miami? You know, the speedway is called the Homestead Miami Speedway. You could easily do that, right? I live like 2 miles from there. But no, I tell people I live in Homestead. And I don't have a problem telling people that because maybe I don't know the history, but I want people to recognize that Homestead exists. I want them to know that there's a community of people that are really out to be something different. Just like and back to my analogy, I hate to go back to the beginning, but back to my analogy of Brooklyn. I took a tour of New York, and when I went to Brooklyn, the person who's born and raised in Brooklyn, he goes, "We say we're from Brooklyn." One of the 5 boroughs of New York, the only bureau that will say, "Oh, when you say where you're from," they'll say they're from Brooklyn. Because they don't want to be just from New York,
Right.
They want to be from Brooklyn.
Right.
I want to be from Homestead. I don't want to just be from Miami, I want to be from Homestead. Does that answer your question?
That's good.
Did I do it?
That's good. I like
That
it.
is the passion that I have to see for this area.
Tell me how you feel like we can connect Old Homestead to New Homestead, because you live in New Homestead.
I do.
And I live in Old Homestead.
I think it really just takes a lot of this and a commitment for people to really understand what we're doing here. I don't know how else to put it. I think there's a lot of growth, a lot of opportunities that we see. I'm going to share a couple of things that maybe we didn't necessarily talk about, but the rapid transit line is a big thing for Homestead, and I see some opportunity there to kind of bridge the new Homestead and the old Homestead. But in a lot of ways, I think it's going to take intentionality, right? People from the more affluent areas, I'm going to say, I don't know how to best put it, but I don't see it as affluent. I just see it as one side of Homestead versus the other. But the more affluent areas of Homestead have to make the intention of coming down and doing things and really investing in certain areas and to do certain things with intentionality. Along with that, you also cannot forget our neighbors, right? Florida City is right next to Homestead. You know, one of the reasons why I'm part of the chamber is I want to get to know all of the different areas, and we service the 5 major cities from Pinecrest all the way to Florida City. So we can't ignore that either. We have to see Homestead as kind of a bigger thing, but for most people who are familiar with this area or who want to come to an area, they're going to say, "I'm going to Miami," but there's also this little town called Homestead. They're going to come to know that Homestead is not just Homestead, it's these other places too.
Right.
So,
Let me interject something really fast here,
Yeah.
because it ties into what y'all are saying, which is key. When Amy and I first talked, the whole thing is we kind of ignored. Everybody was like, you know, that in this area, why are you ignoring Homestead? And nobody wants to say, Homestead just doesn't have the ring that we vacation in the Keys, we vacation in Miami. But like we put on the Homestead section, cooler than you think, and it really is. Everything about Homestead is different than anywhere else. And I tell you what, I told Amy recently, I'm getting ready to be relocating myself personally to Homestead. I can live anywhere I want, but I just love it here.
Yeah.
The people here are awesome. The access to everything is key to me, and I think that's what is so important for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think with groups of people like you guys and others in the community, getting them involved, we can change the perception of Homestead. And it's just what it is. It's just changing the perception.
Right.
You change the perception by making it cool.
Right.
And I think we can all together make Homestead the destination for people. People like me who can live in the Keys, people are going to think I'm crazy because I have a house in the Keys. I don't want to live there anymore. I love Homestead. Isn't that crazy?
Right.
No, it's not crazy to me.
No, it's not. Hey, I love it. Look, I'm
We're going to change it together.
right. I used to be in Nebraska, and I'm definitely from Florida now.
So Ken, I understand you're involved in a nonprofit, and I love charity work and working with nonprofits. I personally admire anyone that has their own. I have never been really committed to working for one particular one. I like to bounce around and find the person who's not getting the attention. So, and I find that by doing that, I learn about new nonprofits and organizations that need our help here in the community, you know, the underdog, right? And I don't think I know about yours. Tell me all about it.
No, thank you for asking. And this is something I've definitely really grown a passion for since starting as my business and getting into what a business owner really is about, right? They're leading a mission, right? We talked a little bit about, while the camera was in weird spots, about Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is really a mission for the owner of that place. I feel like for a business owner, you have a mission. And that mission, for me, kind of extends into this nonprofit. The name of the nonprofit is called Hope for Tomorrow Foundation. And we're a foundation that wants to provide services for not only the parents of kids, but the kids themselves. We provide them mental health services, counseling, we give them advice. If people want to grow their business, I'm a business consultant. I help with some of the connections there, and I help them understand, hey, this is what you can do to grow your business some. So we're really invested, and I'll give you an example of how we are really invested. One of the events we just recently did was one of our biggest events to date this year. And that is in partnership with the library in Naranja. Most people don't know there's a public library here in Deep South Dade, or Homestead, or Naranja, I guess would be the proper name for that. And there isn't a whole lot of traffic there all the time. But we changed that completely for them. We did a back to school drive with backpacks, and we gave out backpacks and uniforms for kids, for the people that were coming there. We also had them sit down. We had presentations from 4 other nonprofit organizations that provided mental health services. We had the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, which also has a juvenile court, basically to introduce kids and parents to the court system in a very, I would say creative way, but in a way that's not, hey, you got convicted of a crime and here you are this first time in front of a judge and what does it look like? It's a very scary experience if it's your first time. So they have a program called like Kids Court, where the kids kind of run the court and they have a lawyer there who acts as the judge, and they go through the whole process to help them understand it. That event drew so many people to that library, and the community is definitely needing things like that. And that's what Hope for Tomorrow wants to bring to this area. We want to bring right to them. We don't want to be up north, have people travel way up there, figure it out. We want to bring it to where they're at. And so that's one of the passions that I have, to see growth here.
If someone wanted to get involved in your nonprofit or help or find more information, where can they do that?
That's a great question too. I'm glad you asked that. I created the website actually, hopefortomorrowfoundation.org, and you can go there and see all the information on our website. You can also donate to Hope for Tomorrow. Hope for Tomorrow is actually, the founder of Hope for Tomorrow has been in Homestead for a long time, in this area for a long time, and it's existed for almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
We have great partnerships. We're looking to do a lot of growth in the next few years here too, as well. And I share the passion that she has. We have quite similar struggles. We've dealt with a lot of adversity in our lives. Her story is much different than mine, but our stories work well together to help the community understand there is definitely hope for tomorrow.
That's awesome. Well, Ken, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to interview you and ask you some very detailed questions. I hope that it was fun, and I'm really looking forward to working with you on chomestead.com and promoting Homestead and making some of those changes that you had mentioned earlier today to bring us together for good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked a little bit about this. I don't know if it was on camera or not, but you know, we're both sides of Homestead. You're the old Homestead, I'm the new Homestead. I want to show people what Homestead is about. Part of my mission with this whole partnership here is to show people how good Homestead is and how much you want to come here and invest in that. That is my passion. So thank you.
No, thank you, and I'm with you. I'm here to highlight Homestead and show that there's a lot to do here, and it's a great place to be, and it's a safe place to be.
Absolutely.
And, you know, Ken, Amy and I talked about doing a video where we actually just kind of took a car tour, where I just kind of videotaped her talking about places to visit. Yeah. I think you should take that ride with us. What do you think about Ken coming with us?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Look, I've learned so much about Homestead. I'd love to hear from somebody who's actually been here.
Yeah, she has old history here. She could give us a little ride around and, you know, take us around Homestead, show us some of the cool things, because it's like we say on the website, it's way cooler than you think.
Absolutely.
Homestead is great, and I think this is the team we need to get started with to take our See Homestead to the next level. So
absolutely.
It's great meeting you guys.
Yes.
Anyone have to say anything else before we get off?
Not much, Rick.
We've gone through everything, man.
I don't know what else to say. You're the man. Thank you.
Guys, yeah. We're gonna invest a lot in Homestead. Hopefully now we can start getting a little better connections with the businesses, because what makes Homestead kind of cool is the kind of laid back. It's sort of almost like the Keys. It's like not progressive. Yeah. When I talk to people, you know, you go in their website, they don't really have a website sometimes, right. And all of these different marketing things that I think we can help step up the game in Homestead, and we're all just alike, and that is, when I go in and help somebody, even if I don't make money for it, I walk out and their business is a little better. Yeah. That's satisfaction on its own. So thank you guys. Anybody throw anything else out? Or are we all good? I just did a dance behind the camera. I'm glad nobody saw that, but you guys, I'm so excited. Rick's over here dancing, man.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're excited. I want you to be more excited.
And anytime I dance, the camera should always be pointed at somebody else. You guys take care. Thank you so much from SeeMyBeach.com. And now here, SeeHomestead.com. Take care, everybody. Oh, we always do this at the end of all interviews. We got to do it at the end of this one. Okay. Even though I didn't really do the interview. Okay. And it's a handshake of the 21st century.
Yep, there you go.
We started that long before COVID, but all of a sudden it became real. You guys take care. Bye from SeeMyBeach.com and SeeHomestead.com. Hey, it's Rick with SeeHomestead.com on the platform of See My Beach. I'm here back home now after the video out in the Florida Keys, and what you guys will do, what I'm going to do here, and that is subscribe to my brother Ken and support his channel. A lot of good information on here. I've actually spent a couple hours on here recently just going over stuff. So anyway, subscribe to Ken. This is where I live. I'm leaving here. Not leaving here, because I'm going to keep this because I work in the Keys a lot. But I'm going to be spending my time primarily in the Homestead area, because just as it's convenient for people vacationing and doing the day trips, it's convenient for me as well. Run over to Fort Lauderdale to our accounts over there, run over to the Keys to our accounts over here, and have everything you need right there in Homestead. So anyway, I'm going to give an example of why Homestead is such a uniquely located place and why we're so interested in covering it. So anyway, all right, goodbye Ken, goodbye Amy. Thank you guys for the interview. They did a great job, and they're going to be a huge part of SeeHomestead.com. They're going to be some of the principals with us. It's a little different setup than our other communities, so we're looking forward to it. Anyway, out from SeeMyBeach.com and SeeHomestead.com.